Hey, what's up everyone, Blade here, and welcome back to another video of Persona 5X. Inside today's video, guys, we're going to be going over some changes that 3.0 and up has ended up making to the game that honestly makes this game start to change very interestingly. And what I mean by this isn't a bad thing, it's more of a pro than anything, seeing how P5X started to revolutionize itself. So I thought it would be interesting to go ahead and cover this topic, seeing that we're trying to prepare for the future as good as possible. If you guys are interested in this, be sure to sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. As always, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and as always,
before we continue with the video, be sure to support my channel by clicking the link in the description and starting a new Raid Shadow Legends account. You'll also get $200 worth of free goodies, a legendary champion, as well as 4 awesome epics as you level up. Make sure to use the code Desert Queen as well to get another legendary if you want to, and this helps out not only just me but the channel a lot, so be sure to click that link and join me in Raid now.
All right, now I get it, this is a little bit different. This isn't a game for everybody. Raid Shadow Legends has not been a game for everybody, and it's more for the older audience, which is one of the reasons why I kind of enjoyed it as well. But hey, if you want to come with me on my journey for at least Raid Shadow Legends, be sure to use the link. And if you're just a person who wants to just support the channel a little bit, click the link, sign up, and that's all you got to do. But with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into the video. So when we're checking out the newer things that are coming to P5X here, we got to kind of check a little bit of a timeline of how everything is going to go. And the best way that I want to go ahead and do this is by showcasing it on lefel.net. Now, lefel.net, you guys already know the website pretty well. I always reference it every freaking update pretty much. And this is now having this thing that has a timeline of all the characters or release schedules that is bound to happen. So we're currently in 3.0, and apparently in 9 days we're getting 3.1 out for Howler, which of course is on track here. But as 3.0 does happen, this is where we had a major pivot. 3.0 was one of the few times where we started seeing a bunch of new cards set. We had a huge pivotal point in the story here being 4-1, and we also had a huge pivotal point inside of how characters do work. Cross-scale Mont, or at least Mont Figure Skater, was the only character at the time that had that dual element here, and it kind of changed a lot of people's perspectives. Although she wasn't too powerful, it opened a lot of people's minds on how things are going to go and how future characters are going to most likely be received, seeing that they were trying to at least start adding extra things for characters, making them more unique, making them more into a competitive scene or more into a usage scene that seemed very fun. This was a good thing that was coming to P5X itself, and it's one of the things that I still adore about this time period, because from here it only just gets better. We have characters like, of course, Howler, that's cool here, but where we started to see even more things was the introduction of 3.2 with Kazumi coming in, as well as with her bringing in, of course, a new persona. Now, new personas, we had one for Black Frost, of course, but this one was more of a DPS persona, while we were looking for personas that helped out our teams that kind of buffed us. And Sorosha was definitely one of those personas that was pretty darn nice to use with Kazumi. Kazumi also was one of the first characters to be able to crit with the highlight. Unfortunately, on global, this isn't going to be the case because we have the twins already, but she still is a very powerful character. She brought in some usage of other allies to help out her own attack. She brought in being able to crit on her highlight. She was dealing like gigantic amounts of damage on just regular skills, which wasn't anything that we were used to seeing. I think like she was probably the first few characters that were hitting like in the 1.2 range for just an A0 character. 1.2 million damage for an A0R0 character, and it was pretty darn cool to see. And I think a lot of people really enjoyed that time period for version 3.2, or at least for this version upwards, because it was starting to see that P5X and Black Wings themselves were slowly, you know, progressing as a team, and that was really cool to see. If we even look at patch history, in which I want to look at incoming patch history for you guys, seeing that 3.2 is going to bring some things, but we're even able to see this with different different events like Jose. I don't think we had this dice event at any time period before this here, and we of course ended up getting the different time periods for Jose and had another dice event. This was cool. This was also starting to be more of an introduction where we were getting more of these type of bosses that were very high challenge worthy, and it really started to just get us into more of that different event spree where Finally, after getting into this here, we started coming along with different events and really powerful units. So this was a huge change, and it started to really happen around that time. So if we go ahead and look at 3.3, this was another big difference for a lot of people. We were all looking for a supporter that was just like Cord. Okay, Cord was ruling the leaderboards. We knew dang well that Cord was the only thing that you just didn't have this character. You were kind of just left in the mud. And so when this character came out, not only was she beautiful and was she amazing with the story, but she was the only character who was a 5-star boosting our crit damage. And she's still one of the best buffers on TW to this day. And I really wanted to make this very prevalent. And I just noticed how is my screen not full screen. Boop, there we go. And I really wanted to make this known. She's really available on TW as well, probably as our second or third best buffer in the game here. So this is one of the characters that a lot of people did not want to sleep. If you had the character, obviously you were getting tons of crit damage buffs, you were getting your attack buffs, and all of it was based on your SP. SP at the time was a stat that no one thought about using. We didn't really care. There was no need for SP recovery. It just never seemed like something that we'd ever use. So many of our cards didn't show this. We can go back and even look at a few characters, which one of the few that I'll just pull up. Let's just pull up stinking what's it called, Cord here, because I think she's like the other person that could possibly use it, maybe even Esmoka. But if we look at Cord, you weren't using SP recovery. Heck, we found more of a use to bring out a main stat being healing effect. That's because of her passive. We weren't ever using this on any characters because SP wasn't a issue and it really didn't contribute anything to our team. Well, when Vast came out, not only did we have a buffer that was just stellar and you could honestly get the most out of her at A0, there was no need to get any higher, but we were able to finally make use of this stat. Stat allowed her to end up transitioning a lot of her SP into crit damage. It allowed you to get like huge buffs in your attack and crit rate, which was a huge deal. This was something that was very interesting, and it also utilized one of the newer sets, which honestly, that was awesome as well. Gave us another thing that we wanted to grind and had something that we could really just kind of have fun with. This was where P5 started to really take a pivot, or P5X started to take a gigantic pivot with how they do their characters. Everything was beautiful. The trailers were taking a step up. We were having teams that were honestly nothing we ever thought we'd see before, like just tapping bosses, easily just destroying anything in front of us. And this started to become a high key trend, which isn't a bad thing. It's actually a good thing for the game. If we go ahead and look above her, these were two other characters that started to change the future a lot more that some of you guys should probably pay attention to. I know some of you guys are going to want to invest in them. Some of you guys are not going to invest in them. This isn't a pull, should you pull video or not pull. So for the people who are asking this, I'll try to answer you in the comment section, but this isn't a should you pull video or anything like that. So don't expect me to, try to get that all off. But why this was a huge, or these two versions were huge, was because yes, we did have some sort of technicals in the game, right? On could proc them, but they didn't really do much for her. Well, these two characters were highly technical based. And I mean by technicals, they were literally in their passives, in their skills, and it genuinely said, hey, this character amplifies the technicals. This character does the technicals. And the reason for this is because their technicals were different. By going ahead and doing a technical in this game, which was something just we didn't think about that you come to the game at all at this point in time, we were able to now do different status effects. For example, with her, she has burn technicals, which if she activates backdraft, she increases her skill damage. Or she has a freeze technical, where if she go ahead and actually activates flames of ice, he now does fire and ice damage, or increases fire and ice damage for those turns. This was something that was just crazy. Even had one for wind, so it allowed a lot of things to start being melded together. New teams got melded together, new uses of personas got introduced, and this was a huge deal that I feel like a lot of people really needs to kind of pay attention to, because it starts to prep them for what's there to come. With this character, obviously she didn't have her proper supports until Matoy came into the picture, who was a debuffer that not only was just generalistically amazing to you, but this debuffer is still one of the stronger debuffers in the game here that focuses only on technicals. Her whole deal is mainly for technicals that are fire, ice, stuff like that here. And she was the same way as Ren Lion Dan, where if she got backdraft, got a skill bonus increase. She got cold thunder, skill bonus increase again, or skill damage bonus increase again. We have flame of ice. Well, weakness effect to fire and ice is increased now. We have, of course, flame tempest. This allows us to get a damage increase. We have ice seal, which is actually, I think, ice on ice, if I remember correctly here. This actually has a higher chance of proccing. Unfortunately, ice seal is kind of trash in this game, so I mean, like, don't even think that's going to be crazy. But still, you guys get what my picture's going on. Alongside of all of these characters that were slowly changing things up, we can even see the event started changing, where we had a Valentine's Day pop up. We started getting a different type of event, being the romantic puzzle. I think you guys had a version of this once at the beginning, which was cool, but we were getting like crazy personas that were exchangeable. We were starting to get new events at the time period, and we immediately noticed that this was what the game was trying to do. It was trying to prep us for the new characters. It was trying to prep us for these new teams that were starting to really make more of a difference compared to the older team. And I don't mean by damage scaling. What I mean is by complexity. Older teams were very straightforward. They didn't have much to think about there. You were pretty much able to go ahead and do what you needed to do just by killing out. Well, now we have things to think about. We had characters with Ren Lion Dance that was, you had to think about that technically. You needed to make sure you were hitting your SP caps, or caps in general, to really get your crit damage off of when fast. We had to think about a lot of this stuff, as well as rotations, especially with Violet, where we now started to make P5X more, instead of being that, or okay, unga bunga type turn based, we had to start doing things a little bit differently. Now, I'm not talking about the ranking side. You guys get what I mean on that. Ranking side, always, we had to think about SOS and stuff like this, but it did get more complex, which was a huge deal thanks to 3.0 coming along and starting to change some. But where we started to lastly see a ton of the change, in which I'm not going to get into 4.0 because we're leading up to it. This is why I'm trying to get you guys to pay attention to the future here. Start seeing the change here was 3.6 and 3.7. 3.6 was a change because it was their first actual attempt at a sub DPS, which was Goro Akechi. Now, we all know how this turned out. He is literally potential man, and he's just not good for it. But this was their first actual attempt. They tried to do something like, of course, HSR did with Cypher, and which was, well, I guess he did come out before Cypher, but you guys get the kind of comparison where the recorded damage was what he was going after. He was meant to be a sub DPS, to be alongside your DPS partner who could pretty much copy that, use a certain percentage of it, and deal a decent bit of damage. Unfortunately, this wasn't the case for Akechi, and it kind of led him down the dark path where now I feel like this character is honestly unredeemable. So Global is going to have to do some craziness to make this guy good, because even at the A6 potential, the character already felt dated. He didn't even last in his own patch, but that's not the case. The main case was it was something different. It was something new, and it brought a new variant of DPSs that we honestly didn't think about. P5X started changing for the better, and it was really good to see something like this. And then leading to the biggest one being 3.7 before anniversary, being Turbo. This was huge because now we had a buffer who could take multiple turns. No other characters could go extra turns like this, so this opened the horizon immediately, allowing us not only to take more advantage over that speed stat that only Ren was taking advantage over at the time, but also allowing us to now use a character who could do a little bit of everything. She gave shield, she gave crits, she gave attack. She was able to give you everything that you wanted, all by going into an extra turn phase, which was absolutely amazing. So all of this was something that I feel like you guys should probably pay attention to, especially in the future, seeing that it's going to be a huge change, and it's going to be a change that I think you guys are really going to welcome, leading all the way up to the anniversary time period. And heck, the biggest change of all, we already know it. We saw Subway Slammer. We saw the dang second Palace of all. Palace 3 in this version going up was just marvelous. Okay, we started seeing a ton more things going down. The writing got even better. You saw more effort into a lot of this stuff, where P5X turned, instead of being like a mediocre game to many, turned into being a game that honestly had some appreciation to it and honestly had a lot more support from the devs from it. And I think a lot of people should be ready to see that change in the future. But you guys let me know down below in the comment section how y'all feel about this. Are y'all excited about the future of P5X? Are these things that you're going to immediately look forward to here, or are they not? Let me know down below. This is a different style of type of video here, but we're going to start turning it up on at least up a notch when it does come down to some of this stuff here. But till then, everybody, thank you for watching. Peace out.
Be sure to support my channel by clicking the link in the description and starting a new Raid Shadow Legends account. You'll also get $200 worth of free goodies, a legendary champion, as well as 4 awesome epics as you level up. Make sure to use the code Desert Queen as well to get another legendary if you do want to. And this helps out not only just me, but the channel a lot. So be sure to click that link and join me in Raid now. I appreciate all you guys, and peace out.